Hey guys, Thunder E here, and this is the AYANEO Flip 1S DS. And this is probably one of the most powerful portable gaming devices that will make your Legion go to sweat, or even the ROG Ally X. I say this because this is powered by a beefy processor, the AMD Ryzen AI HX 370. Yes, that's a processor you find in a lot of laptops. It also has the integrated Radeon 890M. So there's a lot of power performance built into this device. Now, it's available from AYANEO. They do have a Kickstarter, but we're able to get this early to check it out. Now, the first thing you notice, of course, it is a flip device like your Nintendo DS. That's the whole idea. Comes in 3 colors. There's a black, there's kind of like a starry yellow, and then of course there's the retro, which I have here. I like the color scheme of the retro, is really nice, but that yellow also is kind of cool with the black and yellow look to it. First off, the main display. It's 7 inches, 144 Hertz. It's an OLED display. Looks absolutely gorgeous. I love they went with the OLED for the top screen. And I'm actually fine that they went with a 4.5-inch IPS display at the bottom, which of course is your secondary screen, and that screen can be used for all of your system stats and also going through some of the menu functions. It works really well here. Navigating through that screen is pretty easy, and you have options to go into monitor. You can also go ahead and change the performance on here from extreme balance to power saving. You've got quick assistance, so you can actually go through quick functions in the device, applications, smart dual screen, so on and so forth. So there are various options here that I think a lot of people will like. Now, that display also can be turned off from these functionalities by simply hitting the dual screen button, bottom left-hand corner of the screen. That turns it to this dual screen setup that you see right here. So it is pretty nice and simple, and I love that about it. Now, in terms of storage, you're looking at going up to 2 terabytes of storage on this device, and you can also go up to 32 gigabytes of RAM, which is great. Now, the hardware itself is really cool when you look at the button layouts. You've got your sunken weld analog sticks that are opposing analog sticks. You also have a D-pad, which is a bit on the flat side, and you see what I mean when we get to Street Fighter. And XYB buttons are fine. Right below that, of course, you do have your AYANEO button. You do have mappable button. You also have this black button here that basically is a optical mouse that you can use, or in another case, you can also use your bottom display for your trackpad. There's a button you can tap top right-hand corner, opens up the trackpad, which is nice. Next to that is a button for keyboard, so you can use a keyboard here. Again, very functional, works very, very well. The only thing about the keyboard is that sometimes the vibration tends to be slightly delayed, so it kind of disturbs your typing while you're using it. That being said, it still works pretty well. There's a volume rocker in the middle. You do have, of course, a quick launcher button to launch your different game stores, and of course a dual screen button, and then your gaming buttons. Now, other buttons on the device at the back, you do have, of course, your right trigger, right bumper, your RC remappable button, LC remappable button, LB, LT, 2 USB Type-C ports with charging and data transfer, a nice big vent, micro SD, and in the front, you do have 2 slits for your speakers and a headphone jack. So that is the device and hardware. So what about performance? Let's look at some games and let's jump into some of the gaming aspects on this device. We went ahead and played a bunch of games. First game we're going to look at is Street Fighter 6. Now, Street Fighter 6 plays really well on this device. What I love about it is that because you have that dual screen, you can see, of course, my FPS count at the bottom, and I kept this on balance, which basically around at 15 watts for the TDP. I was able to do 60 FPS on this game, and the settings, you can see quite clearly, are pretty good. I was running at 1080p, ran very well, very smooth. Honestly, great gaming performance and play. Now, one thing I noticed while playing Street Fighter is that because I love using Ken, my Hadoukens were much harder on the flatter D-pad, at least for me. But that's something to take note. I wish there was a bit more space to kind of sink in some of those moves, but you get the idea with that, so it was still fine. Now, the next game I played is Marvel Rivals. Now, Marvel Rivals, I was able to I played it on low settings. I cranked up the TDP to extreme, and I was able to get about 69 FPS. Now, wasn't able to drop it down to 900p where I probably would have gotten more, but still, at 69 FPS, that was pretty good. Sometimes it went up a little bit higher. I am not great at Marvel Rivals, so do not come at me for that there. games like this, like Overwatch, I'm just not good at. That being said though, this is where also some of the issues I have with the analog sticks. It's not bad, it's just that I like more space. So because it's again sunken in, I feel like I'm not moving as much even though it goes all the way through. That's just something that I noticed while actually gaming with that. Still works really well. And also you can see the TDP went up on that. That was about 28. And my battery drain kind of moved much faster there. We'll get to battery in a second. Next up was Black Myth Wukong. Now, Black Myth Wukong turned on FSR, was able to play on low settings, and my TDP was set to extreme, so about 28 to 33. And I was able to get about 69 FPS on the game. Performance kind of varied a little bit, but again, played really well. This is a game that's really graphically intensive and was able to play on the system quite smoothly. So I like that about it. Worked pretty well. I also love the fact that the performance just really flowed on the system here. Now, my fan did kick up pretty loud. You can take a quick listen. Yeah, so right at the back here, you could really hear the fan pop up, and temperatures were also rising. You see that most of the games, while playing at the higher TDP, at extreme settings, you are going to see my internal temperatures about 79 degrees Celsius for my CPU and GPU. Runs really hot there. Next up we played was Cyberpunk 2077. Now, Cyberpunk was able to, of course, crank up those settings, although I did put it at low, and it played well. Cyberpunk plays well, about 79 FPS, sometimes to 80, 88, 84, depending on where I am and what I was doing. Performance really good. I love the fact that the system really plays high-level graphics games very well. I mean, it looks good and it played really smooth. Very good performance here. I'm sure I could tweak it out to get a little bit more, but my performance off the bat was just really good at that TDP, so I definitely like it. Again, about 79 to 84 FPS. And the last game I played was Gears of War Reloaded, because yes, I'm a Gears fan and I realized I haven't played Gears in a while, so I am rusty in here, but I was able to get 60 FPS. Game played pretty well and smooth, which is nice to see. But of course I did have to go to the higher TDP again there just to get that 60 FPS. Now, what about the speakers? How good are they? Well, I've got to say, I wasn't too impressed with the speakers, but take a quick listen and then we can talk.
30 seconds before you attack. Get ready. Rocket fire. Ready for counterattack. They're not going to quit.
Speakers are okay for at least getting the sound. I don't think they do a really good job in giving you a very rich experience here. Best to go with headphones, whether you're wired or you're wireless. I think you get a much better experience of that. The other thing to note is that because of the screen size and because of the shape, it felt a little tight for me holding this. So you can see my arm spacing. I wish there was just more space on either side to hold or maybe grips. I know it takes away from design and style though, but after longer play periods, I felt like I needed just more spacing across, which is why devices that are like 8 inches or more give you a better just handheld grip while you're gaming. But I do like the experience here. Now, temperatures. As I mentioned earlier, temperatures while gaming at high TDP was getting 79 degrees for both the GPU and CPU, which is super high. But system temperature just on the device itself I was getting 119 degrees Fahrenheit, about 48 degrees Celsius, which is hot, especially the top and side of the bottom screen and also right below. But it wasn't around any areas where I was holding the device and gaming, so you still can game and play quite a bit. Now, battery life is something that's quite interesting. When you're playing on balanced TDP, which is about 15 watts, about 28, I did get about roughly an hour 20 to an hour 30 minutes of gameplay, depending on what I was doing, which is usually just Street Fighter for me in this case. While gaming at higher TDP, it was roughly around an hour or so. So you're looking at total gameplay time is, with this device, you're looking at maybe about 2.5 hours. 3 if you can push it, but of course you have to basically play a lot of games at the lower TDP settings if possible. I didn't try any emulators, but with this device's processor, you should be fine handling the emulations that you want to. What I did like from it is the fact that every game that I tried to play, it did play pretty well. And then the other thing too is the software implementation here is so much better with the dual screen, allowing me to just go ahead and launch the device. I did actually even use Steam's big TV operating system for a bit because it just kind of flowed and worked better. So I would love to see something like Steam running on here, and also like to see what Microsoft does with the new operating system on the device like this. Especially dual screen means navigating through menus will be super easy, and going through the sub menus for you know, Microsoft's Windows gaming centric OS will be interesting as well. I think this device is really solid. Now, when it comes to price point, you're looking at something that if you're buying it through the Indiegogo, it starts at $799 with a Ryzen 7 chipset and goes all the way up to about $1599 with the Ryzen AI HX 370. Now, if you don't buy it through the Indiegogo and buy it after its launch, that price point changes to $999 all the way to $1729. So that's pretty much it. And it all depends on your SKU and your build. I think mine here is pretty much priced at $1,239 right now because it is a 32 gigabyte, 1 terabyte version. That price also changes to about $1599. So thoughts? I like it. I really like this device. The price point is the biggest killer. It's really expensive, especially getting the right SKU to game as much as you want. I think the Ryzen 7 variant will be nice, but you're not going to be able to push as much as you can do with the Ryzen AI HX 370, and that's what you're really looking for. I think that's just a limiting factor with this device is the price and also the battery life. Because it is running a 45 watt hour battery, it definitely needs something beefier. 80 watt hour battery would be nice. That would have given me at least much more longevity on the gaming performance. But this is a nice startup from AYANEO, and I definitely like the Flip 1 SDS. So if you have any questions, any comments, let me know. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and always enjoy your entertainment.